Happiness and freedom begin with a clear understanding of one principle. Some things are within your control and some things are not. What Stoic philosopher Epictetus is referring to here is the dichotomy of control. Thousands of years ago, Stoicism stated that our emotional suffering arises from fixating on what we can't control. And this is more true today than it ever was before. Depression is strongly linked to overthinking about the past, and anxiety comes from excessive worrying about the future or what other people think of us, but none of these things are in our control. In our day-to-day lives, we allow our minds to go wild over something that someone said to us, or an upcoming deadline that we have to meet, or something that we saw on social media. But the best possible lesson that I've learned from Stoicism is to not only accept what is outside of my control, but also to take action on what is. This has greatly increased my mental peace and my ability to process my negative emotions. And so in this video, I'm going to talk about how the dichotomy of control can end your emotional suffering. We suffer because we focus on what we can't control. We attach our happiness and well-being to these external factors, which causes us to be emotionally reactive and unstable. You may find yourself in pain as you ruminate on what someone did to you months ago, or stressed out as you're stuck in traffic, or anxious about an exam that you have next week. From what I've seen, it's actually quite normalized to have emotions like this, and so people don't think twice about constantly complaining and fixating on things that they have no power over. But with the dichotomy of control in mind, you first learn to acknowledge what is outside of your control, and instead shift your focus and energy to the only things that you have true power over, these being your thoughts and your actions. And that may seem like not much at all, but Stoicism states that this is really all you need to live a happy life. Regardless of what happens to you or where you go, you will always have your thoughts, opinions, judgments, beliefs, actions and reactions in your control. So focusing on these and these alone allows you to develop a sense of inner peace, acceptance and empowerment, as you realize that you'll always have the power to do what is right in your life. So now let's go into detail about how you can practically apply this power that you have to situations that life will throw at you. A lot of your suffering is caused by your inability to accept the world for how it is. Instead, you want things to be exactly how you want them to be. By now you know that focusing on what's beyond your control leads to suffering. The dichotomy of control tells us not only to not focus on these things, but also cultivates in us a sense of deep acceptance for reality. For example, since I've accepted that people will act according to their own nature, I rarely suffer anymore when someone disrespects or insults me, because that's just how the world is. Of course, I would prefer to be treated with kindness and respect, but I acknowledge that there will always be people who will be rude to me. And this does not make me immune to initial feelings of disappointment or negativity, but it does allow me to move on faster and to do what I think is right. When an external event happens to you that you are unable to accept, you become emotionally chained to it, which makes moving forward far more difficult. You can only unshackle yourself with acceptance, which makes you far more capable of bettering your situation. Let's say that you've prepared extremely hard for an exam or for a job interview, but in the end you still fail. You could resist reality here and complain about how unfair this is, about how you worked harder than anyone else and you deserved to get the job or pass the exam. The examiner or the interviewer must have something against you, right? Or you could accept the situation. You could accept how you did everything that was in your control to prepare, but you always knew from the start that the outcome was not in your control. This makes accepting it easier. And now, instead of complaining, you're being productive and thinking about, right, maybe I did this wrong. Maybe I overestimated my capabilities, and I didn't cover everything as thoroughly as I could have. You look for feedback and work on your weaknesses so that you can do better next time. You focus on what you can control without fixating on what you can't. Accepting what is out of your control in this way allows you to move forward far more effectively, because now you are not suffering due to your resistance of reality. Putting together everything I've said so far, we can say that the dichotomy of control is about being able to productively structure your thoughts and actions to bring you peace in the face of reality, as opposed to getting carried away by your emotional impulses and suffering as you resist reality and focus on what you can't control. Our thoughts are the most important factor here, as they dictate our emotions and our actions. And yes, it's normal to have an initial reaction to undesirable events. For example, if your car gets stolen, then the normal initial reaction will be to feel angry and upset. But after that, it's up to you whether you let these emotions take control of you. If we view this initial reaction itself as something that is not in our control, then with the dichotomy of control in mind, we logically know that how we respond to it is in our power. Marcus Aurelius says that the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. So the next time you find yourself feeling very emotional, remind yourself of the power that you have over your own mind. The power to recognize what is not in your control, to accept it for what it is, and to do what is best for yourself moving forward. There's a Buddhist saying that sums this up beautifully. Pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you found it helpful, and if you did, consider subscribing for more knowledge and wisdom on how to live a better life. I'll see you in my next video.